welcome to 10 Talks. Today's conversation is all about you winning your nutrition. What you put in your body, how's it working for you? Are you feeling good? Is it fueling you up? Most importantly, is it setting you up to accomplish whatever you're going for? Our nutrition is very personalized. Each one of us have different food preferences, allergies, things that work, things that don't work. We are here to be able to coach you up to really own your choices and figure out what works best for you. We have our nutrition coach who is going to be able to teach us today's topic, which is all about hydration.
Hi, Carlette. Happy to be here once again. We're going to talk about hydration today and a little bit of a situation that I had with an athlete this year, 17-year-old volleyball player who didn't understand her levels of hydration. And as she dialed that down, she understood that she started seeing the signs of the impact of hydration in her life. She started having way less headaches throughout her entire day, and that's something across the board. I experienced that when I was a teenager too. I did not drink water, and I didn't understand why I was having so much headaches. And as an athlete, I don't want to be dealing with that, right? To me, that sounds like a waste of energy. I want to have as much energy as possible when I go into practice or a game. So I don't have time to be having headaches. So hydration is something so vital for all athletes to just for health overall and also for performance, right?
Before we learn about hydration, I want to learn the symptoms that we can recognize, because so many times we treat a symptom that really it's hydration. And we could simplify in a way to really understand that hydration is our friend to really be able to set our entire health system up for great success. So what are some symptoms that I could recognize that I think it's something else, and we'll be able to talk through how it's hydration?
So some things that you could be witnessing would be some dizziness, you could be some mind fogginess, and you could be getting tired too soon. That's also a symptom of dehydration. So we just need to understand that humans are between 50 to 70% made out of water. So making sure we are refueling those levels of water is super important for pretty much all processes that our body needs to take care of our health and performance. So we will be way more prone to injury if we are staying dehydrated and we are getting to practice or a game dehydrated, and that will for sure affect our performance in our sports.
You also mentioned headaches. I know that happens a lot from just being able to stress and the heat if we're outdoors. What about inflammation? Does that have anything to do with hydration?
Absolutely. So think about this. When we are going through our days, we are breathing some air that comes from pollution, right? We are having our stresses from the regular day, from the activities that we do, or we are going all in into our sports. All that is inflammation into our body. What water helps us do is to wash those off, right? When we go to the bathroom and we do our necessities, water will make sure our blood is clean, our organs are staying good and protected. So for us, when we figured out the amount of water we need.
And is it just water, or are there other things that we can use for that hydration as well?
Absolutely. When it gets into other things that we can use, like juices and foods that are high in water, for example, watermelon, cucumber, those are 95 to 97% water. So that could be part of our hydration as well. It's not just about drinking water. We have our nutrition dialed down. That's the best when we won't really be like, oh, okay, I need to have some water today. I need to drink more water. And we'll be on top of our stuff. As long as our nutrition is good, we are getting our water in through our foods, through our juices, through some other type of fluids. And on top of that, the regular and simple water will, of course, help as well.
And so, how much water should we be drinking? How often should we be drinking? How do we determine if we've actually got our hydration correct?
So The normal recommendation is around 3 liters of water per day, okay, for a normal adult. However, it really depends on the person and what type of weather, what type of humidity we live in, or the type of physical activity that we are performing.
Talk about hydration with the ritual and routine of how do we really win our day. So when we wake up in the morning, how do we hydrate? We start our day, we go to our workouts, there's hydration there. Take us from when we wake up to when we go to bed so that we win the day with hydration.
Awesome. One of the first things that I learned some years ago and I apply to my life every single day, I think it's something that can serve all athletes. Waking up, the first thing when you wake up is to go get 12 ounces to 16 ounces of water. It doesn't mean you have to chug water down. It just means that you have a considerable amount of water because you have been sleeping. Your body has been going through rehab and doing a lot of work while you slept. And if you slept for 8 hours, that's a long time to go without water, right? So when you wake up, your body's ready for some water, ready for to start the day with some hydration. Okay. And going to practice and workouts, I think that we need to understand one thing. First, to understand our levels of hydration, the best signs we can take is by looking at our urine. Just seeing the color of our urine would be the best sign. If my urine starting the day is very clear, that means I'm already hydrated. That's not what normally happens, right? And if my urine is really, really dark, getting to an orange side of urine, that means I'm highly dehydrated. So we want to be to the lighter side or in the middle where our urine could be just regular yellow or light yellow on that side. So that's when you know you are in the middle there with regular levels of hydration or well hydrated. Okay.
And what about lemon water? We hear so much about that being a bonus. Does that matter or not?
Okay, that's a great question. It's something that I do talk about. I believe that that's a great way to start the day also with detoxification. Okay. Also, a great way to drink more water if you think the taste of water is just not right for you. Okay. So there are a lot of fruits that you can put into water to make water taste better and you can actually drink more of.
So I love that I have some options because sometimes water is not a winning strategy over and over and over, day in and day out. So love the option of being able to add some fruit to it or some lemon to it to really spice it up a bit so that I'm being intentional and making sure that my body has what it needs from a hydration perspective. And now I'm heading to practice. What do I need?
Awesome. So I would say a little before this time of getting ready to practice, I would say 4 hours before practice. The recommendation is that athletes could be drinking between 5 to 7 milligrams of water per kilo of body weight. And I'll give you a good example here. Let's say I have an athlete that is 80 kilos of body weight, okay? That means 176 pounds. So times that to 7 milliliters of water, that equals 560 milliliters of water, which is 19 ounces. So 4 hours before practice or a workout, I'll drink about 20 ounces of water if I'm an athlete that heavy, 80 kilos or 176 pounds. After that, when it gets to be closer to practice, let's say 2 hours, I will look at the best sign that we can have for hydration, which is the color of my urine. And if it's still a little bit on the darker side, I could go into drinking 3 to 5 milliliters per kilo of body weight. And I'll keep the same example. If I am 176 pounds times 5 milliliters of water, that's about 13.5 ounces of water. And that I'll make sure I'm going into practice well hydrated and performances levels will stay high as I want.
And throughout practice, are we drinking water? Are we drinking, sports drinks? What's best for us during practice?
Absolutely. So there are a few ways to go there, and that really should depend on the individual and on the body size, also on the sweat rate of that athlete, right? some people sweat a lot and some people take a long time to start sweating, right? And people even joke with them, man, you're not even sweating yet. What's happening, right? So that is one of the things that we should consider, plus the environmental factors. So is it summer? Is it really hot outside or inside in a court? And the humidity, how is that? So the recommendation here is pretty much for athletes. If athletes really want to plan for this and dial this down, they should weigh themselves before practice
Mm.
and understand at the end of practice, when they weigh themselves again, they should not have lost more than 2% of body mass.
Hmm.
So if we use that example of a 80 kilo of body weight athlete, 2% of that would be 1.6 kilo, right? So if he lost 1.6 kilo, that's the limit. If he lost more of that, that means he did not drink enough water or fluids during practice. One thing I would say, if I sweat a lot, I know I'm a big sweater, right? I'm always sweating from the beginning to the end of practice. I should be refilling my electrolytes during
Mm.
practice for sure. So a drink with electrolytes, a little bit of supplement with electrolytes will be of big importance, because as you're sweating, you lose a lot of the minerals that are super important for performance, such as sodium. Okay, so that's the important part of hydration during practice.
Getting that sodium and keeping me so that I'm not cramping and I'm able to really make sure my muscles are hydrated, and just from an energy perspective as well. Okay, so I
Absolutely.
finished the workout. Another little victory dance. Happy I'm making it through the workouts. Feeling good. Exactly. We got to celebrate life here, day in and day out, and just find the joy in the simple things. And that's what's so important in our work, as we really talk about winning life, is that we want this to be enjoyable. We must find the joy in it. If all of this is about just checking a box and you're just trying to get through it, we're not able to maintain it in our life. And really, to win life, we've got to want this day in and day out and feel how good it makes us feel. So that's the challenge that we have for you, is to learn this information. We think of this as new thinking. Then we want to insert the new skills for you to practice, 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 so that you have new hope. That's the change formula. New thinking, new skills, new hope. So we are getting you equipped to really be able to understand hydration isn't just about drinking a bunch of water. It's about really making sure that you're drinking when you wake up in the morning, because your body's been recovering. Now it's time to get it set up for the day to be able to enjoy your drinks and hydration as you have breakfast and your pre-workout meal and what you're going to do. And so now it's after practice. How do we hydrate to get ready for really that next rest and recover for the evening?
So, right, hydration should start right after practice with that drink that we talked about in the last episode, the protein drink, right? Because it has some water in there. So we should start right away with that dose of protein. Also, the electrolytes are super important, primarily having sodium in there to rebuild our levels of sodium. And we are good with this mineral. And even carbohydrates, if it's needed, with some water would be good. Like we talked about before, endurance athletes normally like to drink drinks that are high in carbohydrates after practice. That's good for them to rebuild their levels of energy. So hydration are together with those drinks when we start the recovery process after practice. What I would say in about the amounts, again, it would depend into the person. I don't want to get into a specific calculation, but however, you know if you're sweating a lot, you know if you're a big person or a smaller person. So in between 500 milligrams and 2 liters of water after practices or workouts, depending on the weather, depending on your conditions, I think it's all valid between those numbers. So making sure you are refueling all these fluids that you have lost during practice is super important. It's just a way. The important thing there is to understand the way how you're going to manage that before your lunch or before your dinner, and after your lunch and after your dinner. Another tip that I like to give to my athletes are that 2 hours before bedtime, we cease to drink water because bedtime should really be about recovery. And when we are recovering our best, that just means we are in very deep sleep. We don't want to be interrupting the restorative time of the night to get up and go to the bathroom multiple times just because we drink, I don't know, a full liter of water right before bedtime, right? So being very planned and intentional about this is super important.
So 2 to 3 hours before bed, we should stop drinking.
Yes, absolutely.
Great winning strategy. Okay, team, it's up to you. Go out and win your hydration. And so accept the challenge of really listening to all of this great information, getting educated, and thinking about one thing that you can choose to change and see if it works for you or not. If you change everything all at once, first of all, it's a lot to take in. And second, it's a lot for you to determine what's working and what's not working. So we want you to be able to listen and learn and choose to change one thing. See how it works. Once that's working for you, you've got it tweaked, then choose another. And one by one, we really create this 10 lag. So thank you very much for today's conversation. As always, as our nutrition coach, you are getting us coached up. And I also want to say, team, that he is available for you to be your coach. And so we are committed to winning our well-being. And it is a 10 for us to bring him on our team as our nutrition coach. So if you want a little extra coaching from this learning, know that we've got you set up with our nutrition coach. Thank you.